Welcome into the Wednesday edition. Blue Sky Live here with you today, back in the Clark Ford studio. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready. Talk some college football playoff rankings. Obviously, major night in America last night, as probably not many people got a ton of sleep. I know Neal and I, Neal especially, neither one of us did, but
Never felt better.
We're persisting through this morning.
2 hours
here,
of sleep.
With you.
It's all I needed last night.
We will, I don't know, we'll hit some stuff. I mean, I've got some stuff written down, but I don't know where the hell this is going this morning. So we are here with you today for the show. Ole Miss and Georgia, 3 days away, 2:30 ABC for that one, Saturday from Vaught-Hemingway Stadium. Get into some of that stuff. You know, Ole Miss, it was sort of lost in the situation of everything else going on, but Ole Miss getting good news from the first playoff ranking last night, coming in at number 16.
It's also a week early for it. There's
It
still
is.
games to be played.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Alabama and LSU are going to play each other. Ole Miss and Georgia are going to play each other. There's Texas and Texas A&M are still going to play each other. There's games to be played. It felt like.
You mean like it was a TV production?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm kind of with our friend and colleague Roddy Nabulsi, who covers Georgia for Rivals. He's like, this could have been done in a tweet. Could have put out a press release.
Well, they always could have been done in a tweet, but
they did know it was election night, right? I mean, it was kind of like a little forced.
I think they have a contract that says, by God, you're getting 5 of them during the regular season, and here we are. There are 5 to go or whatever it is, and that's where it is.
Might should have bumped that one to Wednesday.
That's a good point. You could have. You'd have got better numbers. That's for damn sure. Because anyway, we'll get into that in a second. First, Oxford Exxon, Blue Sky Live, Blue Sky locations all over the state of Mississippi. Lunch specials, $5.69, couple sides, bread, 32-ounce drink, 44-ounce drink, whatever size, they're all the same price. So get what you want there, including Sweet Daddy's locations all over the state of Mississippi, ribs, pulled pork, plenty of options for your tailgating or just lunch, dinner, whatever you need to do here. Maybe you had a late night. Blue Skies can help you out to feed your family here. Coming up, and again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're interested in. Send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do. And let's hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900. Guests join all week on the Campbell Clinic hotline, from fractures and sports injuries to complex spine and limb conditions. The pediatric orthopedic physicians at Campbell Clinic in Oxford are the only specialized orthopedic team in North Mississippi providing expert care for growing bodies. Visit campbellclinicoxford.com to schedule an appointment or call 901-759-3111.
So you said around 3 a.m. Is that correct? And you also drove back yesterday, right?
I did. I got up early yesterday in Fayetteville. Finished a couple of content items because I knew that I was going to be a late night and probably a dysfunctional morning. And I drove and voted and came back and wrote football. And then I went to the Oxford Lafayette soccer game and came back and watched television until a little after 3. And then I realized I probably needed to go take a nap.
I was getting teased by the networks because, they flashed to Palm Beach and Trump going to speak soon. And I was like, okay, I'll just give it 5 more minutes and 5 more minutes and 5 more minutes. And at like 1:30, I was like, okay, tomorrow you have to be functional, so go to bed. And you can catch it on the internet the next morning. Yeah. And I said, okay, and I just did.
Well, I have a full day today, and I'll just figure it out. It was worth it.
Yeah, I was sitting there going, So I think you announced here, and we'll get to football stuff in a second. We've got a few things to cover first with this topic. It's obviously what's on everybody's mind. There is a Hendrickson show coming. Is that correct?
Yes. Roughly 3:30.
Okay.
It might not be 3:30 on the nose, but it will be.
That will be a live stream.
Yes.
Okay. In studio.
That is the plan.
Okay. So Hendrickson show with Neal.
I've got a couple things. I'm running a little late today because I've got to do something with Carson around midday. So we're taping Butcher versus the dance instructor at 1:45 instead of 1:30. I'll tape with Ben Mintz right after that. And then depending on what time Josh gets here, we'll get rolling pretty quick.
Okay. So I'll leave the analysis of what all happened to that show. You can catch that out in the live stream. There's no reason to be overly redundant. Obviously, Donald Trump headed back to the White House. Currently 276 on the Electoral College, but that's going to get up around 312.
He's going to have 312,
yeah,
which is exactly what Josh Hendrickson said he would get weeks ago.
Yeah, 312 here. Looks like he's sweeping the 7 battleground states from last night as of right now. And a night where outside of some early posturing with some Indianapolis suburbs and things like that in Hamilton County, really no contest at all. I saw you tweeting, because what time did you get back from soccer? When did you kind of lock into this last night?
I had it on YouTube TV on my phone at the soccer game, but I was trying to watch the soccer game.
Yeah. So 9-ish.
Yeah, it was probably about 9.
I did what we always talk about. You kind of flip back and forth. And I thought basically until I saw you tweet a little bit, I thought from a network standpoint, CNN had by far the best coverage until it was over. And then it went a little sideways and weird, and especially with Van and some of that stuff. But I thought they were really good earlier. Fox was kind of an abomination all night. And then the thing that, and I don't know if MSNBC did this on purpose or what, because I had seen a story about how they were just going to use talking heads and not have one of their reporters on set. And I don't know if it was because of the way it was going. I don't know if it was the way that because there was really nothing to report from the Democratic side that was positive, but that was incredibly disjointed because you didn't even have like the reporter, the journalist to bring it back into the numbers ever. So you just went down these big tangents of opinion and thought, and it just felt all over the place.
I loved it.
Because there wasn't even like a Brett Baer, a Jake Tapper, or Anderson Cooper, or somebody to go, whoo, and it went pow. Because
I couldn't disagree more. I thought MSNBC.
Well, no, I don't mean that. I just mean from a production standpoint. You went, yeah.
You know, I enjoyed MSNBC quite a bit last night. I had multiple friends saying that I was giving them ratings.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
I kept going back.
Yeah, because while it was
Laura and I had to go to separate rooms because she wanted to stick with her station, and I was like, but that's not the fun one.
That's not the fun one.
So I had CNN on one TV and MSNBC on the other in the old studio, and was thoroughly enjoying it. If there was a way for me to listen to both at the same time,
because you had to pick sound, obviously, on one or the other. So.
Yeah, I went with CNN sound more often than not, but it was
King is the best one on the board. So while it was still trying to figure out what was going on, it was the most palatable watch because it just wasn't whatever. Like I actually thought they did a really good job last night until it was over.
Yeah,
and then it went a little sideways.
I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah, they were good.
I mean, I have a theory on what happened with Fox last night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think Fox was. I think they saw where it was going, and they didn't want to be first.
They were very.
And then ultimately, they went first because it was so obvious. And then everybody else, even though Pennsylvania was called, it was like I made a tweet. It was like CNN was doing if we just get 7 onside kicks here, I mean, it was over. And when it got to 267, you're like, he's gonna win. He's gonna win Alaska. So that's 270. It's ball game.
It's what I found odd was and I don't know names because I don't watch enough cable news to know. But CNN would go to the blonde-headed lady that gave numbers where she had talked to the states and the Secretary of States and the election campaigns and stuff. Yeah. And especially like Georgia there at one point, she comes out and she goes, "Hey, he's up by 118. I just talked to Georgia, and they said only 100,000 votes are left. So if she gets every one of them, she can't catch him."
Right.
And they kind of went, "Well, we'll go back to the decision desk and talk about it." And it was like, yeah, but they should have used her more, is my point. Like, you could have really worked her into the conversation and been like, whoa, that's interesting.
I think 2020 was still fresh on people's minds.
Yeah.
There's a lot there. There was a moment in 2020 when the betting markets were like 90-something% Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I also think they were trying to keep viewers to some extent because once you call it, it's over.
Yeah.
Because they were commercials. I mean, they had breaks.
Well, they started into the day of hey, this is going to go till Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
And then
it
last
wasn't.
night it was kind of became obvious that I don't know, maybe not.
Once you realized there was not a uptick once the cities were coming in, you went, okay, it's not moving. It is where it is. So I want to spend a couple minutes again. We'll get to football, but that's not the point right now. I was thinking on the drive over this morning because I'll let Josh talk about what happened, where we're going now, and we've been spending a lot of time on like, is there a way to turn temperature down? What does it look like? What does the campaign look like? Or sorry, what does the second term look like for Trump? The fact that he's never going to run again and now he just governs for 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't that turn the temperature way down and we have a possibility of getting back to more normalcy? If both sides self-scout to some extent?
You know, I mean, I don't know what normalcy is anymore. I mean, as of now, he's gonna have he's obviously going to have the Senate. It appears that he's going to hold the House.
He's a betting favorite in the House, yes.
That's a mandate. He won the popular vote
First time since 04 for a Republican.
by about 4 points. That's
we'll probably end up at about 2 and change, something like that.
That's a mandate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm of the opinion that when you have a mandate, you should use it. I mean, look, had the Democrats gotten a full sweep last night, they were absolutely going to use the mandate. The whole, hey, okay, let's now be nice and kind and gentle and that's not what the American populace asked for last night. That's not what they said. So I think people's definition of the word normal is probably different. But I think the Republican definition of the word normal is one that if Trump does the job that he was elected to do, and he's on the American, I mean, we pay for it. I think he's got a few days to celebrate, and then I think he's got to be prepared to govern.
And from a governing standpoint, yeah, absolutely. That's what you do with a mandate. That's what you do. That's what you do when you hold all three parts of this, plus the Supreme Court, frankly, at this point. So it's four. I guess my point is just simply from a rhetoric situation. The country needed a blowout because you get a close one, and we're doing the same thing over and over again. It turns down everything. It does all this different stuff. When you get the blowout, look, I think honestly, I think maybe one of the biggest things that came out of last night is that however you want to talk about the noise of what had to get stopped or where the pollsters and the watch people and all, whatever, everything looked like it was very well done, very well run for the most part. Like for an election this size where states handle their own business, there was a lot of positives just about sort of the integrity of the process last night comparatively. I think that was a big thing. And when you get the blowout, I kind of woke up and I went, I think there's a chance that if the Democrats self-scout and go, hey, because I was told you right before we started the show, Joe Scarborough was saying things this morning he never would have said over the last 4 years. He was talking about trans women in sports, and that was one of the death knells for the campaign. I read a story on CNN this morning about how Kamala's inability to separate from Biden or wanting to even separate cost her all this different stuff. You got a lot of things because I don't like the idea that everyone voted for the same way for the same reasons. There's lots of reasons why this happened in both directions. Because it was both a lot of support for all of Trump's policies and what he stands for and what he is. And it was also hammering a really bad candidate on the other side in a lot of different ways. There's lots of ways to look at this different thing. And I guess I just kind of went, as someone who really enjoys normalcy in a political, we're not just constantly doing all this shit, I thought, it's like why I like the Vance interview so much on Rogan. He seemed like a normal human. You know what I mean?
I think the Rogan, the word Rogan's a big. If look at when the Democrats do a self scout on this, I said this. I spoke to a journalism class at the University of Arkansas on Monday morning, and I was telling those students, those upper level students, I was like, no matter what you think, no matter what view you have, you need to understand that Joe Rogan reaches millions, hundreds of millions, perhaps tens of millions, certainly, of listeners, viewers, mostly male. Harris lost males yesterday, white males, black males, Hispanic males. She lost males across the board. Her decision not to go on Rogan and be human, I think, hurt her. Was it the decisive thing? I don't know, because it was a blowout. But I think it definitely hurt her. I think they ran a historically bad campaign. That's obvious.
She picked a vice president that hurt her versus a net neutral, which is what you're hoping out of your vice president.
Assuming Shapiro would have done it, which I think is an assumption.
Sure.
It was a mistake. She went with, and then they labeled J.D. Vance as weird. So if you label, for the most part, the American populace didn't know who J.D. Vance was.
No clue.
And so when you say to everybody, this guy's weird, it became obviously talking points because mainstream media went with it every day. CNN, weird. MSNBC, weird. NBC, weird. ABC, weird. The View, weird. And then he goes on Rogan, and he's not weird. If anything, of all of the people, he was the one that, as a guy, and again, we're talking about males for a minute. He was the guy that you're like, man, I'd love to sit and have a beer with him. He'd be fun to sit and have a beer with. Normal guy, comes across as very normal. So when you advertised him as weird, then he wasn't weird. Well, now it's another lie. And then look, yesterday, Jill Biden was decked out in red. If you don't think that was a message, if you don't think that was a message, that's like me saying, "Oh, I accidentally put on my USA Soccer shirt today." No, I intentionally put it on. She intentionally put red on yesterday. That tells you there was so much division. They had a coup, Chase. There's no other word for it. If we're going to call January 6th an insurrection, I think you have to call that a coup. It was a coup.
It's why, like, because one of the points is going to be, and look, this is a really complicated thing. And I'm curious what we've got. We've got some 4%ers in our thread. I see Stacy, I see Ginger. And the thread, it's why I reject the notion that a woman can't be elected president. A woman absolutely can be elected president. There have been two really bad candidates of women on major tickets in Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris. And Kamala came into it without any mandate whatsoever, had never won a national election, and was tied to this person who put her in office, him admitting he put her there because she was a woman, and then an inability to separate away. And then, as we've documented 1,000 times, Hillary, they didn't listen to Bill, which they had one of the top politicians of the last 100 years inside their house. She ran a horrible campaign, and Trump was a really weird candidate to run against in 2016. A woman can win. You just have to run one that is a better candidate than they have. Now, is it harder for women to get on the ticket? Yeah, 100%. But once they're there, you can win.
Sure.
It's just not this one.
I don't think she lost because she's female.
No, I don't either.
She lost because she
I don't see grind in the thread. I don't know races of anyone else in the stream. I'm being just honest here. I am curious a little bit. I want to ask Grind this next time we talk to him. I wonder if black males didn't vote for a black woman as much as maybe other things. I do wonder about that demographic. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but I've heard that on different shows, and I'm kind of curious if that played into it at all. But no, this is sweeping across every major demographic at this point. So anyway, that's
both of my daughters have said they've both lost a lot of followers this morning. I said, is what it is.
On a social media platform.
Yeah. Kind of interesting. No, I mean, look, she didn't get the nomination. She didn't earn it.
Yeah, which hurts you. I mean,
it was devastating. They waited way too long, or they should have stuck with Biden. And I think they didn't stick with Biden because there was a fear that they would lose so much down ballot. And could have been, because look, they barely won the Wisconsin Senate seat. It appears they're going to barely win the Michigan Senate seat. It appears that the Senate's going to be 52 Republican.
Is that what it's going to be?
That's what it looks like. I'm looking at Real Clear Politics as my source. It says,
Himothy in the stream, by the way, says, as a black male, I did not vote for the black woman. Yeah. I'm just curious. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's part of maybe if there's something that can come from this that's positive. Well, there's a lot positive. If there's something that can come from the last 4 years, which I think the Democrats paid for last night. I really believe that. I think the last 4 years were unnecessarily chaotic, and I think they are to blame. It's that labeling everyone. I don't know that everyone in America loves being labeled. I'm a white male, so I'll only vote for white males. That's ludicrous. I'm a white female, so I'll only vote for white females. I'm a black male, I'm only going to vote for black men. I'm white, I'm only going to vote for whites. I'm black, I'm only going to vote for blacks. That's not who we are as a country. And I think people tried to label us that way. And I think when you tell a voting block, this is what you should do.
You're good.
I think when you tell a voting block, this is what you should do, they push back. I think Americans inherently have an independent spirit. They don't like being told that. They like I'm going to do what I think is what I want to do, what I think is the right thing to do. I think there was a pushback on that.
And as you said, now it's Senate, House, Presidency, Supreme Court for 2 years. Probably going to hit some in the midterms because you always do.
That typically happens.
Yeah.
But look, this is a phenomenal. I mean, we have an exchange student living with us. He turned 17 in a couple of weeks. Very smart kid. Scored his first goal for Oxford High School last night. Congrats. But we were talking about this last night. This is something I told him. I said, 40 years from now, you will be, when you're back in Finland, your family will be asking you what it was like to be in America then. This is a phenomenal story. Whether you love Trump, hate Trump, whatever you think about Trump, this is a phenomenal story. This is a person who won in 2016. Lost in 2020, and I use the word lost. I mean, he lost, but boy, there's a lot to get to there. Then he's prosecuted, he's convicted, he has a court date coming up in like 3 weeks
or something. Yeah.
There's a lot there.
2 legitimate assassination attempts.
Absolutely. I mean, this is someone who literally took a bullet on July the 13th,
mm-hmm.
and he wins in resounding fashion. I mean, it is one of the most incredible political stories in American history. That's not hyperbolic.
No.
On the heels of 4 very chaotic years.
It's crazy.
And I kept wondering last night, what is last night like if Elon Musk doesn't own X? Because I think it's huge.
Do you really?
I do, absolutely. Listen, last night, I know you don't like this, and I understand why you don't. Last night was a repudiation of American media.
No, I don't disagree with that. I don't like media being lumped into one thing.
But that's what it is. But my point is,
like cable news for the most part.
Sure, but network news. ABC.
Well, yeah. Whatever. I guess
ABC was complicit in this. CBS was complicit. NBC was complicit. Nobody pushed back on Anthony Fauci. Nobody pushed back in the mainstream media. Nobody pushed back on Anthony Fauci. And if you did, you were deplatformed. If you did, you were labeled. Ask me how I know.
Yeah, I remember.
People have called me a racist, a bigot, a misogynist. You know me pretty well. Do you think I'm any of those things?
Nope.
Because I'm not. I'm none of those things. But I got labeled those things because the American media was complicit in it. Again, 4 years ago, what should have been one of the biggest stories in American history got covered up until recently. And the only reason it became public was because of Elon Musk. And that was the American government. The American government participated in a cover-up of a national story. They literally, they got Twitter and Facebook and everyone on their side. They knew what was going on. They covered it up. So much of what happened in the last 4 years could have been avoided.
No, I'm strictly speaking from causing the election to go how it did. I think that there has been enough impact on fixing the misinformation from the other social media sites and places that he still wins comfortably without that, is all I'm saying.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
But I mean, what I'm saying is just recently, Joe Rogan had Donald Trump on his podcast.
He did.
It was number one, maybe the most listened to podcast in history.
Probably so.
And you couldn't find it on YouTube for a couple of days.
Yeah, I had to scroll way down when I had to come back to it after I had listened for a run.
So what happened? Elon Musk put it on Twitter. Mm-hmm. Rogan put it on X, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then after that, Facebook was like, well, I guess we kind of have to do something. Right? I mean, Zuckerberg has come out and with, we got to change a little bit. That without Musk, I'm not sure that happens. Without Musk, I'm not sure that the Rogan interview with Trump ever even gets on YouTube.
Oh.
So one of the things I will be most interested in is how does American media, which was, again, repudiated last night, how does it respond? Because here's the thing. There's a shifting sands in journalism. I mean, make no mistake, you can bet in Democratic circles today, among those that have rational thought, and I'd say that about both parties because both parties have irrational people.
Sure.
But among those that are irrational, that are determining, okay, where do we go from here? When you watch the film, one of the mistakes that I think they'll say is, we underestimated Rogan. We underestimated the importance of getting out there because they thought that, hey, we'll give her 20 minutes with Brett Baer and that'll cover it. And it didn't do it.
It killed her not doing Rogan for a lot of reasons. But it killed her not doing Rogan also because simply it was them admitting she couldn't do it. You went, no, come to me. We'll give you an hour. We'll do whatever. I mean, I was talking to, he didn't care. I was talking to Hogan Gidley about this a couple mornings ago.
And by the way, Rogan said yesterday on his podcast with Musk that they showed 45 minutes.
Okay. So point being, but now it comes back to the bad candidate situation because if I'm her campaign director, I go, hey, we're probably going to get killed by this, but also she can't do it. So I can't put her on there with Rogan for 3 hours. It's a catch-22. You're killed either way.
Sure.
So it's like.
So then you go back to the coup.
Yeah. And my point with that was not that the Rogan interview wasn't impactful. I think both of them were incredibly impactful because I think a lot of people didn't even. This isn't an anti-Trump thing. They like Vance so much they went to the polls because they like Vance.
Yeah.
I think a vice president is supposed to be. You can win if he's a net neutral. Just don't hurt me.
Yeah.
Vance became a net positive after Rogan.
100%.
So it led to votes in a lot of ways where you went, hey, I kind of like that guy and I might vote for him in 28. So then I'm doing this in your head and you're running through and suddenly he becomes this big thing.
Also, but you told everybody that he was weird. You told everybody that he was.
So it's a shock to it.
He was this extreme guy, and then people listen to it and they're like, no, dude's not weird at all. I mean, it was a fundamental error. When they did it, I thought, that's so stupid.
And my point to the YouTube thing wasn't that it wasn't impactful or whatever that must make a difference. It's that I think his Spotify audience is so large. Mm-hmm. I think that was the overwhelming majority of how many people that listened all the way through.
Could be.
Because I think that, we know this from what we do. Mm-hmm. YouTube views are way different than YouTube listens for an hour. Like that's a totally different situation. Right. And I think he gets so much on Spotify because his average podcast, not Trump, just talking to some climate activist or whoever the hell, MMA guy, whatever the hell he's doing, 12 million-ish.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a huge populace without even any YouTube help at that point. That's simply Spotify.
But my point is, again, I think this is the fundamental change in what's coming. It's one of the today would be a fascinating day to be in an American journalism class at a university because Fox, CNN, MSNBC, do you know how many nights they don't get 12 million views? Like almost every night?
Every night. Particular shows or interviews, especially.
I mean,
no shot.
Hell,
hardly anything does but the NFL.
I mean, people were going to alternate streams last night to get their election coverage. They were going to Breaking Points or they were going to their favorite podcaster or whatever. We had a tremendous demand for us to do a stream. I'm glad I didn't because I needed to be able to hear.
Yeah, that was the problem.
And I wanted to spend that night with my family. I wanted to be able to answer my phone. I didn't want to be on camera. It would have been pointless.
Oh, one of the best political decisions in history is J.D. Vance growing a beard because, frankly, he looks childish and almost kind of young and, I don't know, even like less intelligent without a beard, if that makes sense. Typically they always say guys with facial hair can't get elected. That's like a big thing. Look at the last president that had facial hair.
It was Lincoln, I think.
Yeah, like it doesn't happen. Vance with facial hair looks way, way, way better in every way for probably men and women at that point, and that does matter. So, anyway.
Yeah, no, right. I mean, he's young. He has a beautiful family. His wife is Indian. They tried to label him as a racist. That term has been overused over the last 4 years. I pray that we stop that as a country. That's just become the defense mechanism. So, no, it'll be fascinating to see. I thought, believe it or not, one of the most compelling reactions to what happened yesterday was Steve Bannon, who said he actually believes Trump will, because Trump has a big heart and blah, blah, blah. Trump's an empathetic person, that he doesn't think Trump's going to break out the revenge stick.
Well, he doesn't need to.
No,
he
I don't.
won. It's over.
No.
You don't have to run again.
No.
You don't have to prove another vote in your life.
And that was my point. I mean, and Bannon was like, look, and Bannon just got imprisoned. I mean, it was the most I thought her, and I'll get off this. I thought her closing argument was awful. And it was, hey, he's going to imprison his enemies. And I'm like, kind of like you guys are trying to do. I mean, Bannon's in jail. Like I thought it fell on deaf ears. And look, this goes, you and I both like politics. This is a basic political science 101.
Mm-hmm.
People vote their pocketbooks.
They do.
People vote on the economy. People vote on security. They don't want high taxes. They want to be able to pay less at the grocery store. They want to pay less at the pump.
You vote on your self-interest. You just do.
Yes,
overwhelmingly. I get not everybody, but overwhelmingly. You vote on your self-interest.
So that's what happened. I mean, the Democrats kept telling people, the Biden people kept telling people that the economy's great, and people would go to the grocery store and say, no, it's not.
People voted on economy. People voted on immigration in their minds. They voted all these things. Just like I think you put this in your mailbag. Just like had it been the other way and she wins swing states, you'd have to look up a Republican and go, we miscalculated abortion.
Yes.
We were wrong.
And it turns out that it wasn't.
It did not carry the way that was expected.
It turns out that I kept saying this about that topic. I kept saying, I don't get it. I understand it's a big thing. I couldn't understand a world where it was the number one thing. And it turns out I was right.
Yeah.
Common sense said that wasn't the number one thing.
So may come back to it. We'll see where it goes here in a minute. But first, tell you about Citizens Bank, not just an account number, but a valued member of the community. And now if you find yourself in the market for a mortgage, another reason to give them a try. Whit Wilson, who many of you know in the mortgage space, now at the Citizens Bank, and ready to help you with your real estate goals. Stop by and visit 902 Sisk Avenue, Suite E in Oxford to discuss your options with Whit or any of their experienced bankers who value your financial journey. And make sure you ask about the School Spirit debit cards. They donate an amount per every transaction to the local school of your choice, whether it's Oxford, Lafayette, or Regents. That's the Citizens Bank, PHILA.com.
Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm a little. All right. Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Heard from Eric last night. Different names. Same great people, products, and services. If you live in Oxford, Batesville, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, South Haven, that area, call Southern 662-429-4429. You might have heard that Ole Miss and Georgia play on Saturday. I'll have a post-game column after that game, no matter how it goes, brought to you by Window Hero. From window cleaning to pressure washing, gutter cleaning, gutter guards, everything in between, Window Hero has the experience, equipment, and expertise to make your property look and feel brand new. Get in touch with them at 662-510-7077 or windowhero.com. We're also brought to you by Rustic Revivals. We have a MPW Digital Extra for you tomorrow. Lots of Georgia content on that. Mike Griffith will join, Roddy Nabulsi, Anthony Dasher. Lots of Georgia at Ole Miss content coming to you on that show that's brought to you by Rustic Revivals. Based out of Flowood, Mississippi, Rustic Revivals builds tables and other furniture by hand with locally sourced lumber. The husband and wife team of Josh and Ashley Pierce specialize in custom-ordered tables, beds, dressers, coffee tables, bookshelves, decorative cabinets, chairs. They have a limited selection of ready-for-pickup pieces available in their shop. They deliver within 250 miles of Flowood. You can get 20% off your purchase by using the code REBELS20. That's REBELS20 at rusticrevivalsms.com, facebook.com/rusticrevivalsms, Rustic Revivals on Instagram, or you can call them directly at 228-217-1243. Are you retiring soon? How long should you wait to take Social Security? What accounts should you pull from first? Are you already retired? Should you consider Roth conversions? These are just some of the questions that can only be answered with the personalized retirement income plan. Andrew Seago Wealth Management specializes in helping folks just like you come up with their retirement game plan, whether you meet at his office in Collierville or prefer Zoom from anywhere. They'll schedule a free discovery meeting, see what you can do for you. It's rebelsretire.com. Again, rebelsretire.com.
Podcast is brought to you by Johnston Hill Creamery, johnstonhillcreamery.com. Ole Miss and Georgia, 3 days away, so you better call today if you want some help with your tailgate. Great catering options, charcuterie boards, artisanal cheese boards. They got sandwich trays. They got desserts. They got all kind of options. They can help you out, and they make it easy for you, too. They're located inside Chicory Market. You can stop in every single day for whatever you are looking for to elevate dinner, snacks, parties, and more. But that includes the tailgates. They feed 10, 20, or 40. You can pick it up on Friday or Saturday from Chicory Market. So, again, find everything online, order online, but hurry, johnstonhillcreamery.com. All right, Ole Miss got some good news yesterday, in my opinion, when you look at the first college football playoff projections. Look, we've thought that 10-2 was going to be enough anyway, and I think yesterday went a longer way towards solidifying that. Long way to go. You got to get three wins, including one against the bear of college football. As Lane Kiffin said on Monday, they have won 51 straight games when you don't considering them playing the Alabama Crimson Tide. So that is a tall order. 3 content items up at rebelgrove.com, by the way, this morning. So the projections.
And recruiting, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's recruiting's up as well.
So the teams that are currently, I'll run through it real quick. Number 1, Oregon. Number 2, Ohio State. Number 3, Georgia. Number 4, Miami. Number 5, Texas. Number 6, Penn State. Number 7, Tennessee. I think they got more losses coming, but for now, number 7, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Number 8, Indiana. Number 9, BYU. Number 10, Notre Dame. Number 11, Alabama.
Yep.
Number 12, Boise State. That would be your group of 5 team right now, but they are actually ranked 12th anyway. SMU, first team out right now at 13. They have a loss to BYU, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
A&M is number 14 right now.
They still have to play Texas.
They still have to play Texas. They have that. They have that going on. And then after that, LSU
still has to play Alabama
at 15, and Ole Miss at 16. So Ole Miss at most would need to jump 6 spots between now and the end of the year because Notre Dame throws a little bit of a kink in it. You don't really want to be 11th. You'd like to be 10th. I think there's a lot more safety in 10 than 11. But when you look at it, a lot of SEC teams, a lot of Big Ten teams, and in a world where Ole Miss goes 10-2, the win over Georgia would be enormous, obviously.
Sure, huge.
To push you up into that. Because, I mean, the computers aren't making the decision, but the power rankings loving Ole Miss is giving you some help in the polls. Ole Miss right now 5th in the power projection, FP, whatever the hell it's called, like that thing.
So go through that again. Well, let's see who has probably a loss coming. Oregon, they're probably in. They haven't lost yet, right?
Oregon has not lost,
so they're probably in. That's one spot.
And they have a win over Ohio State and a win over Boise.
Yeah, they're almost certainly in.
Ohio State too.
They have one loss. They still have to play Indiana.
And they have to play Michigan.
Isn't that right?
And then they have.
I mean, I think they'll beat Michigan. Michigan's pretty bad.
Yeah.
They still have to play Indiana, though. Yes. Isn't that right?
Well, they wouldn't in the. I mean, they're having a Big Ten title game
so
too.
They could play Indiana twice.
Yes.
Is that how that works?
I think I'll look.
Or no, they'd play Oregon again.
They wouldn't play Oregon again.
So Ohio State's not. My point is
They're not guaranteed.
They're not a sure thing right now.
November 23rd, Indiana at Ohio State.
Okay.
Purdue, Northwestern, Indiana, Michigan.
Okay.
That is their.
So Ohio State's not a sure thing. I'm looking for sure things. Like Oregon feels like a sure thing.
Georgia at 3 is not a sure thing.
No, they still have to play Ole Miss and
Tennessee.
And Tennessee.
You look at their schedule too, from power ranking, like efficiency rankings. I saw that chart. A couple of the Georgia rivals guys had put it out, and it's got the axis thing, and then basically, if you're in the top right, you're elite offensively and defensively. Georgia's 3 toughest road games are against 3 of the 5 teams in the top right quadrant.
Oh,
Texas, Ole Miss, and Tennessee, and Alabama. Sorry, all on the road. 3 of them. Georgia got no favors from a scheduling standpoint.
Oh
this year.
No.
Texas is the only team that got favors. Miami at number 4 is in really good shape. They have survived. They're probably in.
They feel like almost an automatic at this point.
They do. Well, if you're Ole Miss, you want them to be automatic. Go ahead and run the damn table and don't do something stupid.
Sure, 100%.
You need them to have the ACC title, not an at-large bid.
Right.
Texas at 5. They still have A&M, but they don't have one loss.
Kind of feels like they're in.
I think they're in. Penn State at 6.
What you don't know about Texas, and I don't know, we just don't know the answer to this.
Yeah.
So this is going to be one of those things that I think frustrate people that want definite answers. Because we've never done this before. It's not like presidential campaigns where there's a lot of history to fall back on. Like last night, all the different networks were like, well, this county voted like this in 2020, and this county voted like this in 2016.
We have 0.
You don't have any of that. So we don't know, for example, what I was getting at is, let's say, and man, I haven't stared at it, so don't yell at me. Let's say Texas goes to the SEC championship game and loses.
Yep.
Do they get punished for that, or does that just affect seeding? And
the guy over the thing kind of gave a non-answer. He said they're not going to punish a team for playing in it, but the game results matter. And it's like, hold on.
What does that mean?
Hold on a minute. Hold on.
So what does that mean?
Yeah, like twisted my mind in a pretzel. I went, hold on, but
why do people make this so complicated? For the drama?
Well, I don't.
Or because they don't know?
It's a complicated deal because, frankly, I don't think you should be punished. Because there is an FPI world. I don't have it up in front of me. I mean, I wish I did. If just the favorite in the computers wins scratch the rest of the way, there's like 7 SEC teams at 6-2. 7. There's a world where just the favorites win, and that's where you get. Because Ole Miss is predicted in the computers to beat Georgia on Saturday. If that were the case, the 6-2 team that loses the SEC championship, which had gotten the 2 seed, is automatically out of the damn playoff. That's not fair to the other 5 teams that didn't play.
Right.
And I hate the word fair, bad word, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like,
I know what you mean. So that's my question is, I don't know. In this thought exercise, is Texas in? We'll say they lose one more game and then they go to the SEC championship game and lose. Does that knock them out?
Right.
If they hadn't gone, would they have been in? I don't know the answer to that. There's no data to indicate how that would happen. There's literally no data.
I mean, yeah, we have, because the only thing you saw for sure yesterday is that, and I thought this was going to matter, it's when I've gotten right, is that preseason rankings and where you were in the AP polls mattered because you sort of got a tiebreaker over some other teams based off where you were ranked. Outside of that, it looks like they sort of went that way. Penn State is next. Their remaining schedule is Washington, Purdue, Minnesota, and Maryland. Not much there to knock them out. I don't think they're that good.
So would they go to the Big Ten title game?
They could. They only have one loss. Their loss is to Ohio State.
So if they lose to Ohio State twice, does that?
I don't know how the tiebreakers
I know
work.
you don't.
Yeah.
My point is that there's going to be a lot of unknowns here because you don't know how the committee will or won't punish the Big Ten championship game loser.
Tennessee's in a weird spot here again at number 7.
Still have to play
now.
Georgia.
So let's play Georgia.
Still have to play Vanderbilt.
They do. Looks like I think they have Missouri left, but that doesn't matter at this point.
Well, not if Brady Cook can't play.
Yeah, it's
Vanderbilt.
Not, not nothing. Indiana at 8.
Vanderbilt's got a chance to not be cute.
No.
Vanderbilt's got a chance to kind of flex muscle and go, hey, we're 8-4 and we're a legitimate team.
And when you get them in that last game, they're all locked in. You're kind of in football hell for 60 minutes with them.
Hell yeah, no, they're totally locked in. A chance to knock Tennessee out of the playoffs?
Yeah.
Shit.
That's not the buzzsaw you want to run into that day. Indiana at number 8. I don't know.
They don't have a loss.
They're undefeated. They're cute. They're going to get a lot of points for being cute.
Oh, they're good.
No, they're good.
Yeah.
They have played no one.
No, but that's not really their fault.
It's not their fault, but when you're doing this exercise, they are going to finish the regular season having played
Ohio State.
That is the only team they will have played that even at any point got votes in the top 25.
Yeah.
I mean, but again, you're Indiana, and okay, it's whatever.
I mean, but a one-loss Big Ten team's probably getting in, right?
Yeah. BYU at 9. Somebody from the Big 12's got to go, so just let somebody run it and get in. That's where you're looking at here.
Okay.
You would love Notre Dame to lose because one more loss would knock them out.
Who do they
somebody
have left?
can knock them out.
Still have USC.
They changed quarterbacks this week, by the way.
USC did.
Yeah, they benched Miller Moss. Florida State, Virginia, Army, and USC.
Oh, Army. Army Notre Dame be an interesting game.
Now they better get Bryson Daly back. Army was without their starting quarterback this past week.
Yeah.
That would be problematic. Alabama at 11. They still have LSU left. This is a first-round playoff game. on Saturday.
Should be.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see Auburn beating Alabama.
No.
Who else does Bama have? It's like Massachusetts or somebody. I got it. I'm
Alabama, Mercer, Oklahoma, Auburn.
Yeah, Mercer, same difference.
Yes. And then SMU and A&M. First two out.
Okay.
If SMU keeps winning, they go to the title game, and you got this thing.
Yeah.
Because it's why Clemson losing was a big deal, was you could at least separate some of this crap a little bit.
Yeah.
It's only still one loss inside the ACC. Sorry.
So 10-2 Ole Miss
is in.
Probably in. Yeah.
You're gonna. There's a really easy world where 10-2 Ole Miss is kind of up against 10-2 Tennessee.
Yeah.
Which creates a little bit of a weird deal. Ole Miss will have beaten both of their losses. I know it's not head-to-head, but that would be something here. But, yeah, I think you're in. I mean, your computer and recognition with a win over Georgia is going to be so immense in a world where that happens on Saturday that you jump to like 10.
Yeah. The one thing I was going to say is what's probably out is hosting a game.
Yeah, I saw
probably a road team.
ESPN did a thing with percentages where if Ole Miss wins out, they have a 70. I could get this a little wrong, so forgive me.
It's fine.
76% chance of making the playoff and a 19% chance of hosting a playoff game.
That sounds about right.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
1 in 5 that chaos kind of happens and you move up into one of the other spots and you host.
But probably going on the road for a playoff game. That's fine.
Yeah, the proposed bracket in a world where Ole Miss went 10-2. Again, this is computers doing stupid shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's still season left.
Had them going to Bloomington for a first round playoff game and then playing Ohio State in a bowl game in a quarter.
Okay.
So that's where that was. So and Ole Miss would sign up right now to be guaranteed a road game in Indiana in the first round of the playoff.
I would think so.
And they could see their boy Quinshon the next week.
It would certainly be something to write about.
It would be something.
It would be a phone call I would make.
Today's, based off the rankings last night, the first round matchups would be Boise State at Ohio State, Indiana at Tennessee, Alabama at Texas, and Notre Dame at Penn State. That would be your games in the first round.
I don't know the answer to this. Maybe you do. Is there any chance Ole Miss gets to Atlanta?
There's a bunch of ties at 6-2. I have no clue how to break those. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm being serious. It was like 7 teams at 6-2 for one spot, because Texas would be 7-1, and everybody else would be 6-2 in a world where no upsets happen the rest of the way.
Oh,
yeah. If ESPN FPI, the winner, the favorite just wins the rest of the way. I think it was 7 teams at 6-2 for one spot.
So Ole Miss, Alabama didn't play. If it was Ole Miss, LSU would have the tiebreaker.
But you got to get down to 2 for that to matter.
Right.
Because you know what I mean? Everybody's playing everybody. So you got to figure out how in the world to get it. You start eliminating based off.
If I'm LSU at 10-2 and Ole Miss is 10-2, I'm like, let them go. If I'm LSU, I'm like,
I think Georgia is automatically in because they have the win over Texas.
Okay.
But I don't know why. I'm just assuming.
Unless they lose to Ole Miss and Tennessee, at which point they wouldn't.
Yeah, whatever. But in that world, they have to beat Tennessee for everybody to be 6-2.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying that's how we get to that weird
spot. Because Tennessee's
spot.
1 loss right now?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes. Arkansas.
It's the league.
It's the league.
Well, I mean, it is. I mean, we really haven't talked since it happened, but like the South Carolina win over Texas A&M was – I was sitting in
predictable.
I was sitting in a bar. I found a really good restaurant, actually, in Springdale, Arkansas. It was like completely unlisted. And I sat there, and the food was delicious. I got 2 old fashions. They were both perfectly made. And I was watching South Carolina just beat the hell out of Texas A&M. And I get where everybody goes with this, where they're like, you guys buy the A&M hype all the time. I'm like, okay, whatever. But A&M just got through beating the hell out of LSU.
They did.
So, I mean, okay. But I mean, at the same time, kind of like, yeah, screw off a little bit too. You know what I mean? I mean, they're good. And yet they run into Carolina in that environment on that night where everything goes well for Carolina and they get ahead, and
Carolina's pretty damn good, except for Sellers being inconsistent or bad depending on the day.
Just, I mean,
I mean, Carolina's kind of like high rent Auburn right now, where their roster's not bad. They just have no quarterback play.
Yeah, they're high rent Arkansas.
Yeah.
Kind of the same sort of team, just better in some spots. When Sellers is on, they're pretty good. And he ran the ball pretty effectively. Like Sanders had a big game that night.
G-Man in the stream says the tiebreaker is game control metric. Well, nobody would get pissed off about that at all. But how else you doing it when nobody plays each other?
I'm not even sure. I know I should understand it by now. I get it. So if I get thrashed for this, I deserve it. I don't even know what that means. The amount of time you're ahead, does that factor in the 4 games against Cousins of the Poor that everybody plays? Does some team
or does that factor in you just mailing it in because you're not going to do something dumb to make sure you win the game? You know what I mean? You're up 10, and I'm not going up 17 because I'm trying to just gear down here and make sure I don't throw a pick 6.
I mean, I hate that.
Well, it's the world when you only play 8 games and you have 16 teams. You got to do something.
I get it. So then you're punished. Do you punish a team that played a difficult non-league schedule?
I don't know if non-league factors in at all.
And so they played close games? I mean, how does that – I hate that term. Like in basketball where they do game control.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is the dumbest thing. I've literally – and I've had college coaches, by the way, tell me I'm right.
Okay.
So basketball.
Yeah.
I know more basketball coaches than I do football coaches. The basketball coaches will tell you that the game control metric is maddening. Because sometimes you play the game differently. You play the last 4 minutes of a game differently if you're up 14 than you do if you're up 3. Duh.
Yeah.
I mean, you're asking people, hey, while you're coaching this game that's hard enough to win anyway, please be thinking about game control. I mean, Hugh Freeze called timeout with 2 minutes and 1 second left. You're asking him to also think about game control?
He did.
That's a lot. I mean, I don't even understand it. And like Doris says, Ole Miss is high in game control metric, which is good for you. I don't understand it. I feel confident knowing. I don't know Kiffin on any personal level, but I've covered him now for 5 years. And asking these sorts of questions, I think he would be fully agreeing with me right now. There's no stat on the scoreboard that says game control.
Yeah.
When they put out, I mean, seriously, we get a game book after every game that's got first down, second down, third down conversion, all this stuff, rushing yards, this, that, and the other, red zone, whatever. There's nothing on there that ever goes, oh, game control.
That's close. No. No, a coach would have no idea what their game control number is or how it is relevant to the rest of the league or the division or who you're tied against or anything else. Last thing from this last night, and again, we'll look at this every Tuesday, assuming that it matters. Well, we'll look at it every moving forward because we need the content, but especially if Ole Miss wins on Saturday against Georgia. Boise State seems to have a pretty good stranglehold on the Group of 5 spot at this point. Your one loss is to Oregon. You're
right
in a close game,
and it was a good game.
Yeah. Army is number 2. You wonder if the Army win over Notre Dame could make it a conversation because they would be undefeated with a win over Notre Dame. Maybe. I don't think so, honestly, if Boise wins out, but because they're not ranked, and so Boise's 12.
Oh. Is there a world where they both got it? Boise and Army? I mean, let's play it out. Army beats Notre Dame, beats Navy, and wins the whatever league that is.
Okay. No, it would take – no. Well, Boise State would have to get an at-large. No, because it –
that's what I was asking.
They would both have to finish in the top 10, and there's no way.
Okay.
Because if you're getting in the at-large, you're still the top-ranked Group of 5.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Kinda.
We're not really. We've never done the process geared mentally.
Sleep deprivation is kicking.
We've never done this process geared mentally for the Group of 5 to be an at-large team that gets in anyway. We just haven't done it that way in our heads. But in that world, let's say Boise State, for the hell of it, finishes 8th in the country. They still are the at-large team. So then it actually would open up another spot because they're taking a normal spot, and whoever finished 12th would be able to just come in and be in the thing too.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Sort of.
Enough sense.
Okay. It's kind of like how everybody just assumes the 4 conference champions of the Power 4 conferences, but they're not. If right. Boise wins the conference and is ranked higher than BYU, they get a bye.
This is where me being a very pragmatic, rational person probably isn't great for podcasting. What's going through my mind as you talk about all this is it's going to work itself out.
Well, because it is. It always does.
If people are wondering, like, my thought bubble is I hear him talking, but I just keep thinking it's going to work itself out. Like, these teams all play each other. Something's going to happen.
Only other
Notre Dame and Army are going to play each other, and so something's got to happen when they do.
The only other team that seems to have any group of five shot and it would take help would be Boise losing again, Army losing to Notre Dame, and Tulane winning out. Tulane could potentially jump from 3-1 in a world where Boise loses.
Okay.
But I think we're not going to get any farther down the list at that point.
That'd be good for John.
That would be good for John. It would be a positive for Sumrall there and in uptown New Orleans.
Look good on his resume.
It would. Yeah. It's good. It's not a bad job down there.
No.
It turned that into a good job, a good area.
It's a good job.
It's
a good job.
It's all cool. So that's where the college football playoff situation is. Again, Ole Miss just needs 3 wins. It will work itself out.
Yeah.
If you get 3
If you
rounds.
win 3, you're in. If you lose one of the 3, you're not in. It's kind of simple, really.
Saturday is a playoff game for you.
Yeah.
It is.
Is there a world where at 10-2 you don't get in? It's probably there. There's probably a path, but it's
less than 10%.
Yeah, it's small.
Not even worth doing. So,
what is the latest weather forecast for Saturday? I haven't paid attention. Yesterday was 80% chance of rain.
Yeah, by the way, on that, Siski and I, if you didn't listen to yesterday's show, we talked a good bit about, I know it sounds boring, but it was very relevant to the game. Rain and wind affecting what was coming up yesterday. So just heads up there if you
has
if you
to be.
not.
Let's see, Oxford for Saturday as of right now, which is 9:09 a.m. Central Standard Time on November the 6th. Saturday, showers early, becoming a steady rain later in the day. Thunder possible. High of 74. Winds east southeast 5 to 10. Chance of rain 80%.
Okay.
Sun setting at 4:57 p.m.
Oh, so the game will be almost over by then.
Halftime.
Early fourth.
It will literally be starting the third quarter.
Close to it, yeah. There'll be like 10:30 left in the third quarter.
That's about right. Because the first half will go 2 hours because they all go 2 hours. 2 hours, no matter what. That's like I can't remember in the Ole Miss Arkansas game, somebody had a long drive in the first quarter.
It was like a panic moment. Yeah, it was like,
and I was like, well, we're going to pay for this. And we did. It was like, there was like 10 minutes where there was like 4 plays.
Mm-hmm. A couple of the college football topics, come back to those in a second. First, AnySpark, fastest, most reliable fiber internet option available. Whether you're streaming the Rebels or connecting with family and friends, Spark offers both residential and business packages. Speeds up to 2 gigabits. That's previously from their 1 gigabit. Same price there for that. Also, to learn more, register for service, visit AnySpark.com. AnySpark, get connected, stay local.
We're brought to you by Grenada Home Center. They got paints by Benjamin Moore, Pittsburgh Paints, Farrell Calhoun, flooring of any and all types, stone countertops, granite quartz, whatever you're looking for. They got it. Window treatments, plantation shutters. It's Grenada Home Center, 1301 Sunset Drive, Suite H in Grenada. You can also call them at 662-226-3127. We're about a month and a half from Christmas. It's time to start your shopping. If you haven't already, I suggest Arnett's Fine Jewelry. It's a fourth-generation jeweler located in the old Lamons Jewelry Building, North Lamar Avenue in Oxford. They offer whatever you're looking for in jewelry. Let's just boil it down to that. It's great for gifts. Arnett's wants to be your jeweler. Coming up this weekend, there's basketball on Friday night. There's obviously football on Saturday. If you're getting your gear, go to the College Corner. It's right off of Sisk Avenue in the Oxford Commons. 4,000 square feet of the best Rebel gear. Plenty of parking available. Staff's going to have you in and out and ready for wherever you're headed in no time. collegecornerstore.com. We are also brought to you by our friends at Argent Wealth. They're based in Ridgeland, Mississippi, representing clients in more than 20 states. They provide detailed, specialized investment, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much, much more. It's myargentwealth.com. Brought to you by my friend John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you are looking to plan a trip that creates a lifetime of unique memories, get in touch with John. Give him some parameters. Give him a budget. He's going to help you do something that will be really special. It's JEdwards at regencytravel.net or 901-494-3387. Get the beautiful, healthy smile you deserve at Corinth Dental. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures that will result in a beautiful, long-lasting smile. Routine checkups to advanced treatment, including implants and Invisalign. Corinth Dental's here to help you achieve your smile goals. It's corinthdental.com. And if you're a displaced corporate executive, wanting to put your career in your own hands, maybe you're an experienced entrepreneur looking to diversify, Andy Ludicky can help. It's myperfectfranchise.net. Helps many people achieve their American dream through a very thorough and free consultation process. It's Andy at myperfectfranchise.net or 404-973-9901.
The men's clinic is in Madison and Brandon. Their mission is to help their patients realize the absolute best version of themselves. They want their patients to remain as healthy and as strong as possible throughout the aging process. They do this by optimizing testosterone, improving sleep, reducing inflammation, treating insulin resistance, and facilitating a healthy gut microbiome. Again, Madison and Brandon. In Madison, that's 601-607-7869. Not some kind of testosterone meal. They're going to do blood work and get reviewed by doctors after your first appointment. They can do a lot of stuff remote as well if you're not overly close. One trip, and they will see what's going on with you. Not just even for now, but preventative for the future as well. That's themanthing.com to make an appointment or see more information. I've been using them for 3-4 weeks now. We'll give some updates on that. Probably going to do a little bit of a video to sort of compare some blood works and stuff. So again, Madison and Brandon, that's the men's clinic. That's themanthing.com. Did you see Mike Gundy sending out his apology yesterday for his comments?
I did not. I saw the comments. I assumed at some point he would have to walk those back.
Yeah, didn't use the notes out, but he had just a black box with some text in it. He put the image out. He won't mind me saying that. I sent it to Siski, and he goes, "Yeah, that's the universal sign of my AD cussed me the hell out last night." Mike Gundy, I apologize to those whom my comments during Monday's media call offended. My intent was not to offend any of our fans who have supported us in this program through the years. Yeah. End quote. They're still losers when they wake up. No offense. I apologize. My bad.
Yeah. Hey, no offense, but usually offense is on the way. Almost every time.
Don't take this the wrong way, but
brace yourself.
Oh, I'm gonna miss him when he hangs it up. It's always funny.
He just had a bad day.
They're 3-6, 0-6.
Yeah.
In that Big 12.
Yep.
It's hard.
It's hard.
And that's a fan base that is reeling right now because you're left out. Oklahoma's in the SEC. Mm-hmm. That's a weird place to be right now for the Cowboys.
Tough.
Converging the two topics we've discussed today, a little bit here, I saw Ross Dellinger talking about what could happen in college sports with a Trump presidency, a couple things that probably, because you are getting congressional approvals on the Republican side, potentially, if anything got to the Supreme Court, and there's a possibility that over the next 4 years he gets more Supreme Court justices to nominate at some point.
Likelihood of 2.
Yeah, which would create a super majority, if you will, from a court standpoint.
Frankly, would be his biggest stamp on America is the Supreme Court.
It would be the biggest impact to America for damn sure.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of moderates would bristle just because you go, oh my God, it's getting real over there. At that point, because you already have a majority right now. But the two big things that they were discussing, one is that for the last 3 years, Ted Cruz did win last night in Texas.
One big.
And he's been considered the czar of like a college football congressional committee thing. Mm-hmm. So if something gets done, it would be with him at the head of it. And because you're potentially getting the House and the Senate, if they do go that route, you would be able to push that through versus had it been not that case and the Democrats had one of the chambers or had both, it would all get logged up and you probably wouldn't be able to push that through. The other thing is what took a hit yesterday is a lot of these unionization or potential employment deals for athletes, because I think we've talked about this in the past, but those labor boards that everyone has been using for these preliminary votes on whether college athletes are employees, those are government appointed. So Trump is absolutely going to tear those boards apart and put new people in place. So the odds of the employment part of this whole deal we're messing with right now in college athletics, probably dead on arrival now. Okay. I do not anticipate judging by this story I'm reading here from Yahoo, that will be something that moves forward because he simply will change the boards and the processes for whatever that board is called. It's the labor board, but I can't find the exact name in front of me right now. So those are the two things that are there that just sort of probably are coming as we move forward here at this point. Also, the one that nobody's really sure because look, I mean, I talked to Keith Carter about this a couple weeks ago. Ole Miss is preparing for house settlement payments to go into place as early as April of 2025, at least potentially. But they still have been given, and I don't mean just Ole Miss, I mean college athletics, no one has been given any guidance whatsoever on what the hell to do with Title IX or how it is being implicated here. The thought process is that it will be seen as equal opportunity, not equal payment. Those are two way different things here. Yep. And judging by what the NCAA has decided at this point, this is a little bit of a rehash for anybody who's new or not thinking straight or sleep deprived this morning. The NCAA is taking care of all the back pay to college athletes. The schools pay their current players. The NCAA pays all the players who are inside this settlement that are out of eligibility. And the formula they are using to do that is 75% to football players, 15% to men's basketball players, 5% to women's basketball players, and 5% to Olympic sports. That is the way they are doing this. Obviously, that is not Title IX compliant in any way because that's extraordinarily male, and it's judging by the amount of revenue that was actually generated to the schools. That is the, in general, ratio that a lot of schools are preparing for come April because they're just following the NCAA's lead. And frankly, that's how they are best suited at their respective universities. You can do whatever you want, but that's sort of the baseline way. Well, that would mean that Title IX is absolutely strictly potential and availability, not actual payment. With this change yesterday, with where the election is going, the odds of that being the case raised, and it is less likely that Title IX will be implemented at a congressional level to the point of forcing equal revenue payments.
Got it.
So that is the other part of.
Someone's going to sue on that.
Well, someone's going to sue on every part of this.
I know.
It's the part where I'm taking crazy pills because every time I go, hold on a minute, this suit is only going through because it says, oh, it's going to stop all suits for the next 10 years. And you go, want to bet 10 days?
Maybe 10 days. You might get 10 days. Won't get 10 months. Maybe 10 days. Cruz won big. It was close
for like 55%, and then
that was one that the Democrats poured a lot of money into. You look back on that, you're like, "Huh, was an odd choice."
Well, I mean,
weren't winning that one.
Well, I mean, they ended up being closer in New York than Texas, and Texas is this white whale out there to go purple at some point.
One thing all the SEC schools can agree on:
they get all of them.
Got every one of them.
They really?
Yep. And North Carolina didn't get Virginia, so maybe as you think about it, although Virginia got close, if you think about expansion, there you go.
Okay, I didn't think of it in that in that capacity, but it's fair.
Probably a mistake on her part not to come to a couple of SEC games.
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, there's lots of stuff. Like
Trump went to a couple of them, right? He went to Alabama, Georgia. And
he went to 2 games. Was the other one SEC too?
Seems like another one was SEC.
Okay.
Or maybe he went to Ohio State, Oregon. I don't know.
This line, by the way, for Georgia Ole Miss down to 2.5 as of this morning. Over under 54.5. The ESPN matchup predictor using their analytics giving Ole Miss a 54% chance of winning the game. 54-45.
I went with Georgia in our thing just by 4, but I've been consistent on this, and I think they've earned this.
You're letting them keep the crown until someone knocks it off their head.
They've not lost to anybody not named Alabama since COVID.
That's correct.
There's a certain degree of benefit of the doubt there that I don't think is being a hater. And when they are dialed in, they're tough. And so I'm giving them. But if you told me Ole Miss wins, am I surprised? No, not even a little.
Your McCready and Siskey cohort has already picked Ole Miss out loud.
I know. Heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It will be a zoo on Saturday.
It will be that. Yeah, they'll play the game.
Neal's going to have a hard time getting to the square for dinner on Friday night. I mean, I hope he leaves early and
I
gets
got
all
to
settled
cover
in
basketball. I got yelled at a good bit for not covering Monday night's basketball game, but I was like, guys, I just
They beat the Sharks.
I wasn't there. If we're talking about Long Island for any length of time, something went terribly wrong.
Well, they played Grambling on Friday.
I know, but I'm going. I'm going
It's
to be
at
there,
6.
and
It's
I'm going to pin a thread the whole thing.
Are you?
Yeah, there was
How many?
a lot of anxiousness.
It was opener. Big night.
Yeah,
Cam Brent scored.
he did.
He did.
He did.
Yeah, Lane was not saying anything negative about Georgia whatsoever on Monday.
Well, what would you say?
Yeah, he was.
I mean,
but there was no snark. He was locked in. There was no.
No, but I mean, why would you? I mean, Kirby has built an absolute dynasty there. I mean, it's true. If it weren't for Alabama, they'd have 4 titles right now, 3 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
If it weren't for Alabama, they would literally have like 55 straight wins.
I mean, it's as Tyler said, this thing is pretty damn simple. It's catch the ball when Beck throws it to you and in with kicks. Don't turn the damn thing over, and you're going to be in it in the fourth quarter, and then you'll see what happens.
See what happens. But yeah, I mean,
he's had 11 interceptions in the last 5 games.
Yep. Now he's had some drives where he looks.
Looks good at times.
Looks like a beast.
Looks dang good.
But no, I give Georgia the benefit of the doubt because I feel like they've earned it.
Protecting Dart is it just feels like a chore on Saturday.
Because it is a chore.
That's where I'm kind of sitting in my head going, Diego Pounds is going to have he's got to have a much better game.
I wrote about
got to have a much better.
I wrote about Dominique Thomas yesterday about the tragedy in his life.
Yes,
earlier.
It's a great story.
So that's at rebelgrove.com as well. So should be. I mean, look, you want to play meaningful games in November, and this is the 3rd straight year that Ole Miss is playing meaningful games in November. At some point, you got to win one of them. Here they go. Big opportunity. You win, you make the Kentucky loss kind of go away. You lose, the Kentucky loss gets magnified, and you're out. I mean, it's simple as that. It's not a real complicated storyline Saturday.
I think the Saints can lose 15 in a row and we get the number 1 pick. I think we just keep losing. Although, if you get the number 1 pick, what do you...
All snark aside, I mean, probably not.
Carolina's got a really tough schedule the rest of the way. And you're like, ugh.
Don't they still play each other too? Saints and...
No. Saints beat them 47-10 on opening day. Saints were 2-0. Had a big win in Dallas.
Yeah.
Woo.
They look good.
They did.
That should be a lesson for
everybody. Did you see that
next
stat
September.
I pulled out about the Saints-Panthers game on Sunday?
I did not.
Saints outgained the Panthers by more than 150 yards. Okay. They outrushed the Panthers by more than 150 yards.
Okay.
And won the turnover battle. Okay?
Okay.
Teams that had done that to an opponent were 275-0 prior to Sunday.
Oh, wow.
That is correct, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow. Maybe they can
not
lose.
Not these guys.
Maybe they can lose 15 in a row.
I've never missed Jameis Winston more than right now. Whew. You had to fire him. Like, it was.
I mean, it doesn't fix
How
anything.
Mickey Loomis can't be fired? I mean, I swear, we got Jerry around this damn joint. Like,
he's got pictures of somebody.
all the skeletons.
He's got something. He's got something on somebody.
We're $400 million over the cap. He fires a coach, and he's just free always. All good.
He got something on somebody. He's got the goods on somebody. Like you can't fire me.
They don't even call him and yell at him. Mm-mm. Just go.
He's got that picture on his phone. Just.
You know what Derek Carr's cap hit is next year?
I don't.
$51.4 million.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's a lot.
They traded Marshawn Lattimore yesterday.
Oh, too.
Washington.
Oh, okay.
Commanders are real.
They are. That's because they have a really good quarterback
I'd like one of those.
and a really good defense.
I want one of him. I want one of those.
That's how that works.
How do I get one of those?
Lose 15 in a row and then
There's
draft
not
the
one
right
of
one.
those. This class doesn't have that guy in it.
Maybe it's Carson Beck. You get to watch him on Saturday.
You can stick the fork in my eye right now. He threw 3 interceptions to Mississippi State.
You get Shador.
Oh, dear God.
I mean, he's there. Draft Shador Sanders.
He's actually the first quarterback off the board in the latest mock.
Is that right?
Yeah. He's going to pull for the damn Commanders.
I was pissed off because Cody Bellinger picked up his option. I was hoping he was going to walk.
You're mad he picked it up?
Yeah, I was hoping he would walk. I was going to take that $30 million and spend it elsewhere. It was like 10:15 in the morning in Fayetteville on Saturday, and Jake Thompson went, "Oh, Bellinger picked up his option," and I just put my head down.
Garrett Cole staying with the Yankees.
Is he?
Didn't he say yes?
I thought he opted out.
Oh, did he? Did I miss that? I may have been 100% off. I thought he stayed. I could be. After triggering opt-out, Cole staying with the Yankees on existing deal.
Oh, okay. That's weird.
So basically what happened was he went, no, I want to renegotiate. I'm whatever. And then Cashman went, okay. And then nobody said a word. And he went, hey, I was kind of kidding.
Yeah.
We good. And
I'll just take my deal.
And Cashman went, okay, we'll forget it. You come back on that deal. And he went, okay.
Yeah.
And we all just moved on. And
Cashman could have played hardball with him.
I would have said, hey, enjoy free agency, bud. Go at it.
God, Trump won Florida by 13. I'm just reading numbers, and I don't remember some of these numbers.
That's what I was telling you. He won
13.
He was, yes.
Remember when that was a swing state?
They had 96% of the vote in by 8:15 last night. They have two time zones, and they have 20 million votes.
Say whatever you want, but Ron DeSantis runs a tight ship. I mean, say whatever you want. Well, you can think whatever you want to think of.
If you're a Republican, he is a fascinating case because his resume for governing is better than anybody's. I don't think he can win a national election.
He's not a great politician.
No, he's a bad politician and a great governor.
Oh,
it's just
he runs a tight ship.
Oh.
That part's not debatable.
Yeah, it's a fascinating case there with him. So, all right, come back in a minute. First, G&M Pharmacy 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area and they offer MedScene. Peer prescriptions the same day each month and take care of you. One trip to the pharmacy, one delivery of everything you need when you need it with G&M. So whether you're in Tyson Drugs in Holly Springs or G&M in Oxford, 662-236-2222.
Got a new sponsor that I'm super excited about. We're brought to you by Parrish Brewing Company, located in the heart of Cajun country in Broussard, Louisiana. Their simple goal is to make awesome craft brewed beer, and they do. A couple of them. The Doctor is in Dr. Juice. It's your new go-to IPA. It's a highly crushable juice bomb, dry hopped with a blend of their favorite hand-selected hops from the Yakima Valley. Dr. Juice's drinkability is sneaky good, considering it clocks in at 6% ABV. The pour glows a rich cantaloupe hue with a thick frosted haze, soft mouthfeel. It's fantastic.
Ooh.
I love it. In fact, they were like, hey, we'll send you some samples. And I'm like, dude, I got tons of your samples everywhere. They're always in my fridge. Also, the Ghost in the Machine, maybe my favorite beer ever. I love it. Has gained a tolerance for hops beyond what mankind has ever known before. This double IPA is the necessary outcome, brewed with obscene quantities of hand-selected Citra hops from their favorite farm in Yakima Valley, Washington. You can expect pungent grapefruit aromas and flavors, tropical fruit, and less harsh bitterness than most double IPAs. It's fantastic. Highly recommend it. So if you're out in the stores, wherever you buy your beer, look for Dr. Juice, look for Ghost in the Machine. You really, and I mean this sincerely, I can't even believe I'm getting paid to say this. This is the American dream right here. You can't go wrong with the Parrish beer. You just can't go wrong. But those are the two that they want me to promote right now, so I'll promote them. But I'll just tell you.
I feel like you had more in your chamber. You could have gone on that for a minute.
Cane Break is fantastic.
Oh, it is good.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, listen.
I'm not a beer guy, and that one's good.
I am a beer guy, and I love Parrish products. Probably never been happier.
Matt, thinking about you, bud. Thanks to you and Ashley for keeping us aware of your situation here these last couple days, or few days actually at this point. So thanks to you for that. Good luck to you. We'll keep in touch. Keep praying for you out there in the stream. Thanks for telling us. I saw the text a second ago too.
Oh, I didn't see the text.
Yeah. Well, he sent a DM to me. I'll send it on. Yeah. All good. Let's see. I had something else in my thing. Battery was dying. Missouri passed sports gambling last night. That is one change. Yeah. Quick little sidebar there. Nothing of any note necessarily. That'd be cool if we could do that, not like at the boat.
Yeah.
Or on the line.
Feel like we could sell that pretty quick.
Well, it's already out there. We literally aren't eligible because you can't do it. Like it literally sits there and they say, outside of Prize Picks, love you guys, do that. But that's not what I'm.
Yeah,
not what I'm talking about. Ohtani having surgery to fix torn labrum in his shoulder after being banged up during the playoff run.
Pitching shoulder or non-pitching shoulder?
I don't know. Let's find out. He is getting kind of banged up. You're paying him a lot of money.
Won a title.
So that makes everything worth it, doesn't it?
For now. He's won a title and an MVP. So far, it's definitely worth it.
Left shoulder.
Oh, he'd be fine.
Yeah, no. Spare parts at this point. That doesn't matter. That's completely fine. I love punishing Embiid with 3 games off. Like that's going to hurt him. Like he was probably thrilled to have 3 games off getting suspended, by the way.
Yeah. He needs a little break.
What happened? I know he pushed the dude, but what happened?
Yeah, I don't know. I answered an NBA question.
Open locker rooms. That's what happened. You start fighting with reporters, pushing columnists.
Yeah.
Get all heated.
They're a little heated, that team. They're.
I feel like that happens in the NBA more than any other sport, with actual confrontations with media in the locker room.
Sensitive players. It's pretty aggressive media at times, yet they're used to a whole lot of homer media.
Mm-hmm.
And so the ones that just do their jobs come across as really negative, when in fact they're just doing their jobs. Look, you're underachieving.
Because you never really get this in baseball at all. Everybody kind of mostly gets along.
It's a long season. You don't get it in football, even though the NFLPA wants to kick the reporters out of the locker room.
They do.
Yeah. I get it. I have a mixed bag about it.
But you know how that's going to go. They're not going to bring anybody in. They're not going to say anything, and they're going to take forever to do it.
Yeah.
There are major logistical issues with closing locker rooms. I understand it. Not against it, even necessarily.
It's the problem where the overwhelming majority of media are professional in that environment, but there are some that aren't, and there's no tolerance. They're naked people in there.
Yes. Which creates issues in 1,000 different ways.
Well, everybody's got their phone, and now you use your phone as a recording device.
You do.
And so one of the answers is you can't bring your phone in, go get a traditional recording device. And then you get media that are like, no, I don't even know how to do that. Okay, well, there is a concession to be made.
When's the last time you used one of those little recorder things?
It's been years. But now if you told me that's what I had to do to get better access, okay, sure.
Some of them have transcribing tools on them.
Yeah, I know. The problem with the transcribing tools, ask me how I know, is that the artificial intelligence doesn't understand a lot of you have to go in and they break the sentences up really bad. You spend a lot of time editing, and then you end up going back and listening to the audio anyway to get it right.
Braves announced that Spencer Strider and Ronald Acuna Jr. will not be ready for opening day, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is not the end of the world, but you begin to wonder a little bit as time goes on there. Just who's the next coach fired?
NFL?
Yeah, Peterson in Jacksonville.
I mean, sure. That's not why they're losing.
Nope. He's a good coach. He didn't forget football in the last 4 years.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like Mike Gundy's not losing because he got worse.
No, it's not because he's losing because they don't have as good of players. They're playing teams that are more talented than them. You think Clark Lee suddenly became a better football coach? I mean, Clark Lee figured out football? No, he has a better quarterback. Wasn't a shitty coach the last couple of years. He's a good coach, a really good coach. Now he's got better players, and suddenly they're winning some games.
One day, one game, not holding you to it at all, but what was is South Carolina the one college basketball loss on opening night where you went, that's probably a sign of something?
Yeah.
I'm not holding UCF in Orlando against A&M.
Mm-mm.
Big 12 is going to be a bitch.
Big 12 is really good.
But South Carolina, you went,
Yeah, and I mean, it could end up hurting them, but I'm not. I don't think South.
There's a chance they played over their heads last year with Lamont.
Yeah, and they've got a young player that's a lottery pick, but I always go back to Anthony Edwards was not a particularly great player at Georgia. Now he was a great player, and you could watch him play and go, oh shit.
But that didn't change the game.
It didn't really affect the game.
No.
He beat Ole Miss a couple of times by himself, but that wasn't a good Ole Miss team either.
Did he?
Yeah. The last game before Ole Miss got eliminated on that first night in Nashville, COVID night. Rudy Gobert, Oklahoma City night.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Edwards kicked Ole Miss's ass at 6 o'clock. In Nashville.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Sorry, we kind of forget that game at this point. That's not.
Yeah.
Ashley, thank you for. I don't think Neal would eat a Kringle, but he would probably like a Kringle.
I do love a Kringle, but no, I'd rather not eat one at this point.
Just sit it in the bar. You probably won't touch it. It'd be fine.
Yeah.
You got 2 kids, it probably would.
They could probably eat it. Carson's pretty.
Say pretty in season mode right now.
He's pretty careful.
Okay. It's fair. All right. I don't know. We'll talk about something with Jeffrey tomorrow. We'll look at picks, we'll look at lines, and then we'll lead up to Ole Miss and Georgia, 2:30 Saturday, ABC. For that one, we'll have a post-game show presented by Realtree, 15% off, MPW15 at Realtree.com for that one.
If the McCormick thing holds, that's a big pickup.
That is a pickup there, and he's got a sizable lead. All right, we will be back on Thursday. More streams coming as the day. Hendrickson show 3-ish, 3:30. You said something like that today.
It'll be 3:30-ish. If we're not there by 3:40, it's okay. We're coming. If something happens it would require something bad happening.
For it not to be the case.
For it not to be the case, we'll get to it. It might be 10 to 15 minutes late, and it might start right on time. I don't know.
Appreciate you guys. Talk to you soon.